Welcome back, Careblazer. In today's video, I want to talk about a very important topic, and that is how you can redirect somebody with dementia, how you can successfully redirect somebody with dementia. With practice, getting the ability, the skill, learning the art of redirection, this can help lower so much stress on your behalf because it helps lower either the frequency or the intensity or the duration of some of those really challenging behaviors your loved one is doing. So when your loved one is really stuck on something, they're really upset about something, they're really intent and highly focused on something that you're having a hard time getting them not to focus on, learning how to redirect can be extremely beneficial. So in my care course, we talk a lot about this during the weekly live question and answer sessions. I'd say one of the most common types of questions I receive are how they can respond to their loved one who is engaging in a difficult behavior, like perhaps repeating themselves over and over again, accusing the Careblazer of something that isn't true, or just highly focused on something that the Careblazer can't seem them to get them to focus on something else. So one of the things we talk a lot about during these weekly live Q&As is how do we start to practice redirection? How do we get your loved one onto something else so that they can calm down and so that your stress can lower? And real quick, if you're watching this around the time that it releases, my care course opens for enrollment next week. So if you want to get an alert or a message that the course is open for enrollment, there is a wait list below this video. You can just enter your name and email address and I'll be sure to send you an email when you can join. It truly is like learning a new language. When your loved one believes somebody is breaking into the home and stealing things, or that perhaps you're stealing their money when you're just trying to pay for basic electricity and food and groceries and medical supplies, trying to explain to them the situation often doesn't work. So when it comes to redirection, it's important that you know to keep an open mind, to be willing to experiment with different approaches. And just like in learning a new language, it's probably going to feel pretty unnatural, awkward, and weird in the beginning. You may not exactly know what to say or how to say it, but you know that you are trying to communicate something. That is what it's going to be like when you start practicing redirection. In the case of dementia, your loved one oftentimes is speaking a different language. They're oftentimes living in what can seem like a different reality. So in order to successfully communicate with them, you have to start speaking their language. You have to start speaking and interacting with them in a way that makes sense in their mind. There are two main ways to communicate with your loved one using the art of redirection. One is simply through your words, and the second is through your behavior. The end result in either method you use is that your loved one is redirected off of whatever had their attention onto something else. And you do that by using the information you gathered during the redirection process. I'm going to walk you through specific examples to help you apply this to your own situation. Let's first talk about the approach of using words. When it comes to using your words for redirection, you want to avoid the rational response, which often results in some resistance, and instead you want to validate what they are saying, acknowledge the emotion behind what they are saying, and ask for further information in an interested and concerned way. So those are the steps. Let's apply it to a situation. So let's say your loved one is insisting you take them home, right? They want to go home. They keep saying they want to go home, but in fact, they already are home. The home that they're wanting to go to in their mind does not exist, or it's not possible, right? So this is how you would apply the 3 steps to this situation. Number 1, you want to validate what they're saying. So here you would say, you want to go home. At which point they might respond, yes, that's what I've been trying to tell you. Take me there now. Second, you want to acknowledge the emotion behind what they're saying. You miss your home. You really like it there. Again, they might respond with something like, yes, take me there now. And then the third step, ask for further information in an interested and concerned way. Now, this step is very important because you want to keep your ears open for an opportunity to redirect in a natural way using something they have just said. For example, tell me what you like most about your home, or what do you miss most about your home, or who lives at the home with you? Then you take their answer and look for your golden opportunity. For example, when you ask them to tell you what they like most about their home, pay attention to anything they tell you and anything you can use in the moment. If they tell you they liked the backyard plants and you happen to have a potted plant or some flowers somewhere, you can eventually tell them, "Oh, I saw some beautiful plants around the corner. Let's take a look. Maybe you can help me figure out what they are." Before you know it, you're on the topic of plants. You've moved on from their current position. You can then take the moment of being outside with the plants to notice the bird in the sky. You can point that out to them, and then eventually you're getting on to an entirely different topic. So let's say you ask the question of, well, who lives home with you? You can hear their answer and ask them to tell you more about them. She sounds lovely. What are some of your favorite memories with her? How did you spend the holidays? Oh, I noticed a photo book over here. I think there are some pictures of her. Let's take a look. And then from there, you go through the books, you flip through the pictures, you reminisce on holidays, trips, friends. Before you know it, it's an entirely different conversation. So in a way, you're going into your loved one's mind instead of resisting and trying to change the topic immediately, which is what so many people want to do because we realize there's no good answer. The thing that they want or that they're focused on either isn't safe or isn't reasonable or isn't possible, like going to a home that doesn't exist. The natural inclination is to try to change the subject immediately. That in many ways it's too soon and your loved one is still going to be focused on it and they're going to push back. But by going into the conversation, asking them questions about it in an open and curious way, you start to go down a path of conversation that then naturally you're looking for that window of opportunity to redirect to something completely different. So this kind of approach helps with that transition. So again, the 3 steps when you're using your words as your attempt to redirect is acknowledging what they said, acknowledging the emotion behind the words of what they said, and then from an open and curious place, asking them questions about it. And from their answers to those questions, that's where you get your opening for redirection. Now let's talk about the second approach, which is the approach of redirection through behavior. In this approach, you simply start an activity. You don't even need to try to get your loved one to engage in the activity or ask them to join you in an activity. You just simply start a new activity, and this can be enough to start to shift toward the transition. Let me give you an example of a recent Careblazer who I can't remember if they emailed in or wrote it in the Facebook group. But what he said is his loved one was following him around all day like his shadow, asking the same questions over and over and over again. And it was really wearing him thin. So what he decided to do is turn on some good music, start singing and dancing. So his loved one, or he didn't say anything to his loved one. He didn't try to tell his loved one to stop. After answering the questions for like the 20th time, he just went and put on some music, started singing and started dancing. And much to his surprise, his loved one just started singing and dancing, started getting into it. So without even approaching the behavior head on, he was able to successfully redirect the behavior. So what types of activities could you do to possibly help with redirection? Some examples might include music, dancing, stretches, chair yoga, puzzles, making a recipe, picking flowers, petting an animal, looking through a photo album. Sometimes just breaking the routine, breaking the habit, and doing something different in the middle of the day can be enough to redirect your loved one. I would say just be open and curious yourself about what possibilities or creative ideas might pop into your mind and things you might be able to do. And I would keep that open mind and curiosity and try things even if you don't think your loved one would go for it. Because we're used to interacting with people who can follow along in a conversation and have a mostly functional mind, it makes sense that we naturally want to address questions and behaviors directly. But when it comes to caring for somebody with dementia, that direct approach often doesn't work, and it can misfire, backfire, and make things even worse. So I'm really encouraging you to realize you don't actually have to answer their question directly a lot of times. You don't actually have to address what they're saying a lot of the times. You can simply, through the art of verbal redirection, or by just turning on some tunes and dancing, all of a sudden you can be onto something different and put that in the past. Now, these approaches, especially the verbal approach, it truly is like learning a new language. It's going to take some time. You might not be able to think of something on your feet in the moment. That's okay. You might get it the next time. I really am encouraging you to keep an open mind and to experiment with this approach, because when you can nail down the art of redirection, this can really help lower how long some of those really challenging behaviors are lasting, and as a result can really help lower your caregiver stress. Comment below on different behaviors or situations that you find are hard to redirect. Something that happens with your loved one that you have a hard time redirecting. I might take some of those situations and then compile a video offering you how I might try to redirect them to give you some ideas. Careblazer, I'll be back next week with another video. In the meantime, keep up the great work. Bye.